Morning to all. I, Mr. Prashant Payam, welcome all the participants for the national webinar on CPM and PERT techniques for product launch, which is organized by Sanatana Research and Training Institute, a unit of Sanatana Sampradhisthana, Mysore, in association with Rotary Club of Mysore West. Prayer is an action. It is the process of talking to God with energy in order to achieve a purpose. So let us begin this national webinar by seeking the blessing of the Lord Almighty. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarva Karyeshu. Now I request Dr. Ramchandra CG, the Managing Director of Sanatana Research and Training Institute, to welcome and introduce today's speaker, guests, and all the participants. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning, one and all. I take this opportunity on behalf of Sanatana Research and Training Institute, which is an unit of Sanatana Sampradhisthana Trust, Mysore, to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Shivasankaran, Associate Professor, Manakula Vinayagar Institute of Technology, Pondicherry, and today's guest, Dr. Raghavendra Prasad, MD, President, and Sri Dinesh, Secretary, Rotary Club of Mysore West, participants from different parts of the country. So the main vision of our institution is year of educational training and research activities on an international tier. The mission of our the institution is to develop necessary skill set among pupils of all educational hierarchy and to conduct in-house research activities on an industrial scale. The main objective of our institution to train tutors in various upcoming educational domains, to conduct programs on various societal needs. And coming to today's speaker, let me introduce today's speaker. Dr. P. Sivasankaran has obtained BE degree in Mechanical Engineering from Pallavan College of Engineering, Kanchipuram, and ME in Industrial Engineering from Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai. He has obtained his PhD in Industrial Engineering from Anna University in the year 2015. He is having total of 10 years of teaching experience and currently is working as Associate Professor at Manakula Vinayagar Institute of Technology, Pondicherry. And Dr. P. Sivasankaran has published a total 35 papers in reputed international and national journals, and also presented many papers in international conferences. He has published books on quality management, process planning and cost estimation, managerial economics and computer integrated manufacturing, automation for excellence. He has organized around 15 workshops and guest lecturers on recent technological advances in the area of various reputed in the area of industrial engineering. He is peer reviewer and editorial board member for various reputed international journals. He is a life member of Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering, Mumbai, IAENG USA, and Teaching and Education Association, Eurasia Research. He is proficient in software such as Design for Assembly, AutoCAD, Robotic, etc. He has guided various academic projects for UG as well as PG students. He is regularly applying for projects, seminar grant, FD base, HTTPS under various schemes of DST, CSIR, NSNTM, and AICTE. He has carried out a novelty research on the work titled Comparison of Jute Sisal Fiber Reinforced Composite using Crust PCB with the support of C Intel Services Chennai. He has actively participated in various FDPs, national and international workshops, STTPS at various institutions, delivered guest lectures at the institutional level as well as at reputed industries on the topics related to software applications and other industrial engineering areas. So the beautiful thing about the learning that nobody can take it away from you. So that's why never stop learning. So when we stop learning, so then we stop growing. So learning gives creativity, creativity leads to thinking, and thinking provides knowledge, and knowledge makes you great. So that's why knowledge is divine, knowledge is powerful, and it should be shared. So this is what the platform that we have created to share the knowledge. And coming to today's the topic, PERT and CPM. So the PERT meaning the program or project evaluation review technique. So it is a visual tool used in project planning. Using the technique helps project planners to identify, to start, and as well as in turn required tasks and timelines. The information is displayed as a network in the chart form. The project or program evaluation and review technique, that is PERT, is an activity to understand the planning, arranging, scheduling, coordinating, and growing and governing the project. This program helps to understand the technique of a study taken to complete a project, identify the least and minimum time taken to complete the whole project is concerned. The PERT was developed in the year 1950s actually, with the aim of the cost and time of the project. And coming to the CPM, that is critical path method, is a well-known project modeling technique in project management. It is a resource utilizing algorithm that was developed in the same year, that is 1950s, by James Kelly and Morgan Walker. The CPM is mainly used in projects to determine critical as well as non-critical tasks that will help in preventing conflicts and reduce bottlenecks. In essence, CPM is about choosing the path in a project that will help in calculating the least of time that is required to complete a particular task with the least amount of wastage. So the critical path method has been used in many industries, starting from defense, construction, software, aerospace, etc. So in general, PERT is that a technique of project management which is used to manage uncertainty. That is, here the time is not known. So uncertain activities for any project, whereas CPM is that technique of project management which is used to manage only a certain activities of the project where the time is known here. So this is about the PERT and CPM. So today's national webinar on CPM and PERT techniques for the product, the launch, the topic which you have taken. So the speaker will give you the introduction about PERTs and CPM and the need for PERT and CPM and various objectives of PERT and CPM and the application where and all we can able to implement this PERT and CPM with the help of case studies we're going to discuss. So with this, I wish all the participants will have a fruitful interaction with the speaker and get benefited of this. Once again, I thank one and all. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. P. Sivasankaran, Associate Professor, Manakula Vinayagar Institute of Technology, Pondicherry, to start his session on CPM and PERT techniques for product launch. Over to you, sir.
So very good morning to all participants. First of all, I thank the coordinator and the organizing committee for giving me the wonderful opportunity to share my basic views on the so-called topic for today's workshop, CPM and PERT techniques for product launch. So we are going to have the different sequence of presentation in this form. First, let us understand the physical meaning of what is CPM and PERT, then why this is required, the CPM and PERT, then what are the objectives of project management techniques, and some of the basic terminologies used in both CPM and PERT, and a few numerical case studies through mathematical solution methodology. We will try to have a basic understanding in both the concepts. And then finally, conclusion, the difference between CPM and PERT, how far these two project management concepts are quite essentially used in different industries. So these are the various contents for today's discussion. Straight away now we will move on to the introduction about the concept, what is critical path method. So critical path method is nothing but a sequencing and scheduling algorithm, which helps to list out the sequence of various activities that are involved in a project. So that can be represented by means of a path. So even though there are multiple paths are possible, but in this CPM algorithm, in most of the situation, the programmers are advised to use a single path line for executing the different activities in the project line. So let us have an example to understand what is CPM and the project network, fundamental details about the project network construction. We will have a typical example on the students' admission process in a reputed university. How this can be applied, CPM concept can be applied in an education industry. So this is the problem statement. In most of the professional institute nowadays, the selection of the student is done through various process, written test, group discussion, and followed by interview. So these are the activities that are involved in the student selection process. So prior to written test, there are so many other activities that are to be performed, starting from deciding the date of examination and all other supporting events. Even though the system seems to be quite simple, but the various precedence relationship are nothing but the supporting activities that are connected to the main node of a network, project network. Those are considered to be as a precedence relationship. So every precedence network should coordinate with the main activity in completing the whole task in admitting the student to any professional course in the reputed university. A delay at any stage would lead to ineffective operation of the system. So hence, this problem can be treated as a project consisting of different activities with precedence relationship as shown in the following table. So for this problem, how to construct a project network chart. So this is given in the next following slides. So this is the table which has activity description from A to M. Activity A can be defined as deciding the date, time of entrance test, group discussion, and interview. And the next connecting element to A, activity B, which tells about the venue, discussion about the examination venue, where immediate predecessor for activity B is A. Right? Similarly, activity C, call for application through advertisement. So whose immediate predecessor is activity A. Then activity B, printing the application form. Then activity E, which tells about dispatch of applications. Then F, receiving and process the application and send the hall tickets to the concerned individual. Then G represents setting of the invigilators, and activity I represents making the seating arrangements. Then J represents conduct of examination, and K, which measures evaluation and announcement of entrance test results, and activity L represents conducting group discussion and interview, and last ending node, activity M, which represents publication of admission results. So these are the main activities A to M. So under each main activity, these are the immediate precedence, the nodes which supports the main activity within the project network, right? So now for this given data, we need to construct the project network diagram using this table. So how? Let us see the mapping of precedence network diagram. So first let us define activity A, that is a planning stage. Okay, so deciding the date, time, group discussion and interview, right? So activity A is placed between the project route. This is called as a route 1, 2. Okay, so here the common technique used in project management is activity on arrow method. There are two methods, activity on node, activity on arrow method. So this proposed method, what we are seeing on slide is activity on arrow method. Okay, that is the most common used technique in CPM. Okay, so these 1, 2, 3 up to 12 represents the node or junction points. There are 12 node points are arranged in this problem, and between each two nodes, the activity descriptions are to be given sequential, as per the sequential, right? So A is placed between the two node 1 and 2. So the project path 1 and 2, okay, is located with the activity A. Now next, activity B, whose immediate precedence is said to be activity A, right? So here B is located between the node 2 and 5. Likewise, we need to follow the same procedure for activity C. Again, the same, activity A is the immediate precedence. So from 2, you draw the arrow line, okay, connected to the node 3. So C is placed between the project path 2 and 3, where B is placed between the project route 2 and 5. So likewise, we have to define the path or route starting from source to destination for each and every node. Then next, activity D is also having the same immediate precedence, activity A. Then from A, we need to draw the line. Okay, so connected to node 4. So D is placed between two node 2 and 4. So the simple meaning, once after deciding the date, time, venue, the end, that group discussion interview, only then we need to plan for the next activities, deciding the exam place, the call for application and printing the application form. But the primary dependent activity is A for B, C and D. So without completing the task A, we should not go for B, C and D. So that is the graphical meaning, what I mean to say in this, the current slide. Then the next thing, activity E, whose immediate the precedence constraint are D and C. What is D? Printing the application form, call for application through advertisement. So without undergoing this, we should not go for dispatching of application. So how to represent in a chart format, in a network format? So here activity E is represented by having two dependent predecessor D and C. But here there is one main problem here. So D and C are not connected, properly connected with the arrow mark. Okay, so here we have to introduce a dummy arrow mark, an imaginary dummy arrow mark with the dotted line symbol. Since the 3 is not directly connected with the 4, node number 4. Okay, so it is overhanging. The node 3 is overhanging, whereas 4 is connected with activity 6. So these two dependent predecessor D and C are to be joined with the dummy activity, imaginary dummy activity, by representing a continuous dotted arrow line mentioned by D1. So now it is possible D, C passing through the dummy arrow line. So we can represent no activity E, which located between node number 4 and 6. The next thing, F. So receive and process application and send the hall tickets, whose immediate precedence constraint are E and B. So E and B are the immediate precedence, the constraint for F. So here also the second dummy activities we need to introduce to connect 5 and 6, node 5 and 6. So E B passes through the dummy activity D2. Finally, we will obtain the path for F. So F is connected between 6 and 7. Now activity I, we need to draw activity I. The precedence is F. Then similarly for J, the precedence is I. Then for K, the immediate precedence is J. So likewise, we need to arrange the project path for the entire network. Okay, up to M, the publishing of admission results. Okay, so now we have completed the entire the physical representation of the project network relationship using the arrow ray diagram. So this is the fundamental logic for any real world application in industrial point of view. If you take a new product launch, if you want to plan an e-vehicle production system, electrical vehicle production system, CPM and PERT is one of the best complementary tool for new product launch development. The next, what are the basic rules for network construction? These are the do's and don'ts to be followed for the project network path construction using arrow method, activity on arrow diagram. Okay, so here the first point which tells about the starting and ending event. So which one is the starting event? This is the tail event, and the head event is nothing but the closed cap, arrow head cap, which tells about the head event, right? So the starting event and ending event of an activity are represented as tail and head event respectively. So each network should have a unique starting node, that is a tail node. So each network, a project network, if you take project network 1 to 8, so it should have a unique tail node and a head node, right? So no activity should be represented by more than one arc in the network. No two activities should not have the same starting node and ending node. A dummy activity is an imaginary activity which indicates only the precedence relationship only. Whereas the project time duration is taken to be 0, which does not add any value in the project network. For measuring, for connecting the precedence relationship, for that purpose, we can use a dummy activity. Right. So these are the basic rules and guidelines to be followed for activity on arrow diagram. Now, these are some simple the physical representation of a project network. Let us take 4 project the path nodes are there. So as per the rules and guidelines, so each and every activity will have a single path. It does not have a multiple path, right? So it has a unique starting and ending node. And each node does not have the same starting node and ending node, right? Based on the consideration of the rules and regulation, so this has been defined. Then for mentioning the dummy activity also, we have to follow the same approach. So now, ultimately what I mean to say, the critical path is nothing but a work measurement technique or workflow management process, which is used for following up the execution of various task elements. In project management, the critical path is nothing but the longest time, the project path which takes the longest time duration while executing the task, that must be done successfully from the start to finish state. So the task on the critical path are said to be the critical activity. Even if they are slightly delayed, the entire project completion time will also get delayed. So by identifying the critical path in the given project network, we can find out what is the total duration of the project. So what are the objectives of the critical path method? So by applying CPM algorithm, we can able to list out the group of activities and the associated the jobs which are required to complete the project. Let us take an example of a new planning for a new product launch. So these are the basic activities which are involved in a new product launch. Let us take development of a prototype for developing the product prototype, what are the various the material which are required, and prepare the blueprint, the sketch accordingly to the prototype, then create the product prototype, then select, hire the product support team, then test the develop the product prototype, then prepare the marketing materials, or nothing but a mode of the marketing, the strategy what you are going to follow, then launch the product prototype in the test market, and gather the feedback through analysis, and finalize the product launching schedule period. So these are the different activities which are planned in the new product launch. For each activities, time durations will be given. So based on which we need to construct the project network, the chain network, and find out what is the earliest start and latest completion time, and finally evaluate the critical path based on the total project completion time, and how to minimize the critical slide. Hello. What is the latest? We have to measure it in the given problem. So this is the data table for the problem statement. So here I have not coined to any real world application. So the activities are so generalized. I have taken as A, B, C, D up to N. Right. And these are the immediate the precedents, the matrix in support with the main primary activity. And these are the time durations which are measured in weeks. Right. So for this, the network constraints are to be formulated. The first question, draw the network of the project. Okay. So activity A, B, and C does not have the immediate the precedence node. So in any different direction, we can able to draw the project path. So first put node 1. Okay, from node 1, draw 3 branches of arc in different direction. A, this is A, B, and C. So connected with the node number 2, 3, and 4. Right? So as per the table. Then for activity D, C is the immediate predecessor. So this is activity C. So the D to be executed, the activity D to be executed after completing activity number C. So from node 4, join node 3. So the activity D is located between the project path 3 and 4. Then next activity E, the immediate predecessor is A, right? So through A, you draw the line, the path for E. Okay, name it as 5, node number 5, 2 and 5. So E is projected between 2 and 5, node number 2 and 5. Then F. So A, B, and D are the 3 node, the terminal points for connecting F. So here A is said to be overhanging in nature. So the activity A is not directly connected with node 3, whereas B and D are connected with the node number 3. So introduce a dummy activity D1. Okay, A followed by the dummy activity B and D, followed by that we can represent the path for F that is connected between 3 and 6, node number 3 and 6, right? Then G. So for G, the immediate precedence constraint is C, right? So from the immediate precedence constraint C, construct the path for G. So between 4 and 6. Similarly, H, whose immediate precedence is C from the previous table. Okay, so between 4 and 7, H has been represented. Then I, okay, for I, E, F, and G are the 3 precedence node. You can see here from the table EFG. So again, we have to use a dummy network to close 5 and 6. Okay, E is not directly connected with the 5 and 6. So F and G, these are the starting array element from 3 and 4. So through this, you draw the dummy line D2. So now E, F, and G followed by the dummy line D2, we can represent the path for the activity I between 5 to 10. Then J, whose precedence constraint are F and G from the table F and G. And then K, the precedence constraint for K is H. Then for L, the same precedence constraint is taken H. Then for M, J, and K, for activity M, J and K are the precedence constraint. Then for N, L is the precedence constraint. Now all the 3 arcs, the arrow arcs are connected with the node number 10. Okay, so now we have done the project network, the path construction for all the activities starting from A to N. Right. Then parallelly, we have to represent the time duration for each activity within the project network. Right. Here they have given the time duration starting from A to N. So for activity A, it is measured as 5 weeks. For activity B, it is given as 11 weeks. Similarly, for C, D, respectively, for all other remaining the task elements, the time durations are given. So put in the within the enclosed the brackets for each activity, mention the time elements, the duration, the path duration of the each project network, right? So the next thing we need to find out the critical path. So for measuring the critical path, we need to have 2 different time estimates. One is earliest start, the other one is latest completion. Okay, so for finding the critical path, these are the 3 essential conditions we need to follow. What is ESI? Earliest start of node I. That must be equal to the latest completion time of node I. Okay. Similarly, earliest start of node J should be equal to the latest completion time of node J. How this can be represented? Let us take the project path 1 and 2. This is node I and node J. So the earliest start of node I should be equal to the latest completion time of node I. The next thing, the earliest completion time of node J should be equal to the latest completion time of node J. Then the third condition, the difference, finding the difference between the earliest start of node J minus the earliest start of node I minus the project duration between node I and J, right? The earliest start of node J minus the earliest start of node I minus duration between node I and J, that should be equivalent to 0. Okay, so for measuring the critical path in the given project network, we have to follow all these 3 basic empirical relationship, right? So now we are going to find out the critical path in the given project network. So this is the mathematical equation for finding the ES and the LC, earliest start and latest completion time under each project path, right? So the formula is ESJ is equal to maximum of ESI plus DIJ. So if there are more than one particular sub branches between the project node, so we want to take the maximum of the time duration while calculating the earliest start between two nodes. Similarly, latest completion. So minimum of LCJ minus DIJ. So when you are working in backward approach for finding the latest completion time under each project path, so the same case is applicable. If there are two multiple paths between the source and the destination, we want to take the minimum project time duration, available time duration, to find out the latest completion time under each project node. So these are the two simple equations to be carried out for estimating the earliest start and latest completion time. So now I'm going to explain how we are arriving the total project completion time as 30 weeks. How I'm getting this answer, 30 weeks, the total project completion time. So first, let us solve for ES, earliest start. Let us take the node 1 and 2. Okay, forget about the remaining the project path network. Let us take the initial node 1 and 2. Generalize the activity, let us take as IJ. Activity I is nothing but node 1 and activity J is nothing but node number 2. Okay, node IJ, physical representation, right? So initially, we know only the project duration, 5 weeks for activity A. But our objective is to find out the earliest start time of node I and earliest start time of node J, right? So you can see the lowermost box which is given, that is taken as ES. The topmost box, the value which is entered in the topmost box is the latest completion time. Now we are going to see only ES calculation. Later in backward approach, we are going to find out the LC calculations, right? So in two different streams, we are going to find out. Now we know only the time duration for activity A, right? So start at 0 time scale from node I. I am initializing time period 0. Okay, I'm starting at 0 weeks, right? So what is the formula, the calculation here? So ESI, what is ESI here? 0. So earliest start for node I plus duration DIJ. So this is 5 weeks. So 0 plus 5, I'm entering 5 year. Earliest start for node J. I'm started at 0 weeks. I'm completing, executing at 5 for 5 weeks. Okay, so ESI, ESJ. Likewise, the same procedure we need to follow for remaining other, the left out uncovered, the project path, by using the same, the formula. Okay, right? The next thing for node 1 to 4. Okay, 0 plus 8. So 8. Okay, so earliest start time for node J is 8 weeks. So I'm taking this as node I and node J, 1, 4. Okay, 0 plus 8, I'm in the lowermost box, I'm entering as 8. Then 8 plus 7 for node 3. I want to find out 4 to 3. What is the earliest start time of node J? Okay, I know what is ESI. So 8 plus 7, the time duration for 3 to 4, 7. 8 plus 7, 15. Okay, so in the same similar way, we need to find out for node 4 to 7. So 8 plus 5, 13. Okay, then 8 plus 12, 20. Right? So 20 plus 0, this is the dummy activity, does not have any time duration. So 20 plus 0, 20. Okay, then 20 plus 5, 25. Then 13 plus 9, 22. Okay, so for node number 10, I need to find out what is the earliest start time. Okay, so here there are three possible branches of arcs or meeting from node 5, 8 and 9. So I need to find out which is the maximum ESI value. So first find out 20 plus 10, 30. This is one possibility. 25 plus 3, 28, 22 plus 6, 28. There are three possible time estimate, out of which you take the maximum time estimate. 30 is the maximum project completion time. So put here in lower box 30 weeks. Okay. So now we have found out the ES calculation, earliest start from between node ij for every terminal points. Now the next thing is LC, the value, latest completion time value for each node we need to find out. So using backward pass from reverse direction from node 10 to node 1. Okay, so here we know that ESI for node number 10 is 30. I'm assuming the same value for LC. ESI is equal to LCI. Okay, so 30 weeks. Now for this node, for ith node, I'm assuming latest completion time is 30 weeks. Now by applying the equation LCJ minus Dij, now this becomes J and the precedence node will become I. So I'm taking node 10 to 5. Okay, so 30 minus 10, 20. Okay, (24). Likewise, in backward direction, I want to find out what is the latest completion time for each project node. Then 20 minus 0, 20. Right? Then 24 minus 9, 15. Then 20 minus 12, 8. 20 minus 4, 16. Then 20 minus 9, 11. Here I need to find out the minimum, because three possible arcs are being connected to node 3, 2 and 4. Okay, so I need to find out the minimum of the latest completion time. So 11 minus 5, 6. So 16 minus 11, 5. Then 8 minus 8, 0. Okay, so 0 is the minimum, the possible time. So here I can put in latest completion time 0. Okay, so this is the way to find out the latest completion time and earliest start time between each node I and J within the project network. So from this, what I conclude, the total project completion time is equal to 30 weeks. That is the maximum time duration available in the project network is considered to be the total project completion time. So what is the critical path? How to find out the critical path here? So as I told you, the three different conditions. ESI is equal to LCI. So you take node 1 to 4, the project node 1 to 4. Here ESI is equal to LCI. Similarly, you can take ESJ equal to LCJ. Take the first two conditions. So which is quite applicable. Here there is no slack activity between the node 1 and 4. All the job operations are completed very earlier without any cushion effect. So activity 1 to 4 are said to be critical activity. Okay, there is no idle time. Then find out the next critical path. So 4 and 6. Okay, then similarly 6 and 5. Then 5, 10. So the critical path are 1, 4, 6, 5 and 10. So that is identified from the project network, right? So the last question from the given problem, calculate the total float and free float of each activity. Okay, so here instead of finding the total float and free float, I'm going to use a Gantt chart method, a very simple method. Gantt chart is nothing but a time evaluation chart. In another case study, I will tell you how to find out the total float and free float using formulation, using mathematical equation. In two different ways, I'm going to explain you. So one is a Gantt chart. Instead of finding the float, a total float and free float, So I'm going to find out by Gantt chart. Okay, measure the common time scale units. Okay, so the total project completion time is 30 weeks. Okay, measure the time scale unit 0 to 30 weeks. So take the first node 1 to 2. Okay, so here in the Gantt chart, activity 1 and 2. So what is the initial starting time? 0. Okay, the latest completion time is 11 weeks, right? So measure the proper dimension between activity 1 and 2. So 0 to 11 weeks. This is the area to be covered for the project path 1 and 2. Here I'm going to find out what is the earliest start and latest start. Okay, so the earliest start is 0 to 5 weeks. Right? So from the given network, 0 to 5 weeks. Latest completion is 5 to 11 weeks. Okay. So here I have mentioned latest start. So started at 5 and it will go up to 11 weeks. So likewise for every project path, we need to draw the time diagram. So using this also, we can find out the slack or the non-critical activity, the probability of idleness in the project network, right? So this is the simple illustration problem from the book I have taken. Now I'm going for an industrial case study. So using this basic model, so how we can apply in this practical example. So critical path analysis for a new product launch. So these are the activities which are described here. So where S is nothing but the starting node of the project path, where A is the develop the launch plan for a new product, and activity B, which represents developing the prototype, and C represents the product testing of the product and market evaluation, then training the sales personnel, and activity F, deciding the plan for product distribution. And this is the last ending node, activity Z, launching the final product into the market. So these are the various time durations in month which is given for each activities, and predecessor, that is a dependence activity. So based on which the network has been established in this way, and they measure the critical path as B, C, D, F, and Z. So what is B? Development of prototype, model, testing of prototype, and testing of market segment as per the customer attitude, and distributing the product plan and launching the final product into the market. So these are the critical the path that are being measured in the network. Now, the same way we have to solve by mathematical approach. So I'm not going to explain again whatever the explanation which I have given as told in the previous slide. Okay, so we need to apply the same procedure, earliest start, latest completion time, to find out the critical path. Okay, and also the total project completion time is 12 months. That is the longest time duration which is available in the network. And adapt the Gantt chart, the time chart for each activity, and measure the critical path. So another case study, product development in automobile launching schedule program. Okay, these are the details which is given. Task A, planning for the automobile production. Okay, it will take around 3 weeks. And task B and C, product design and development, that will take around 6 to 7 weeks. And task D, which measures a product and process validation, 10 weeks. Task E, which represents the manufacturing of automotive production, which taken about 5 weeks. Then last one, market segment feedback assessment and corrective action, 4 weeks, right? So in the same way, establish the precedence network diagram and find out the earliest start and latest completion time using the equation, and evaluate the critical path. Here I have used the total float and free float calculation instead of Gantt chart, right? So you can take the critical path, so which are considered to be zero in nature. Okay, the entire project duration is said to be completely consumed in nature. So there is no slack activity, okay, which is fully utilized, properly utilized. Whereas here, if you take it has a slack active, okay, one represents a slack. It has an idle time between 3 and 5. Whereas the critical path 1, 2, 4, 6 and 6, 7 are perfectly considered to be fully utilized without any cushioning effect, right? So the task number 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 are said to be the critical network, right? So far we have discussed about how to draw the CPM network, how to find out the critical path by knowing the details about the earliest start, when the activity to be started, at what time, at the latest it has to be completed. So these are all the details we have understood. Now the most interesting thing is, after identifying the critical path, we need to reduce the time duration. Okay, that is called as a crashing, project crashing. After identifying the critical path within the project network, so we need to take the path to be crashed under consideration. The main aim of the project crashing is to reduce the time duration by one or more tasks. Okay, the crashing is done by increasing the resources to the project so that we can able to make an attempt to complete the task within a lesser time as per the planned approach. So we need to find out the slope cost for crashing the project network across the critical path. So these are the various cost elements which helps us to find out the slope cost. So C suffix C is nothing but the crash cost, and C suffix N is the normal cost, and T suffix N is the normal time, and T suffix C are nothing but the crash time. So using all the various the cost element, we can find out the slope cost. So for this, we will try to have a simple numerical model how to perform a project crashing, that is reducing the project network time duration. So consider the project data. So here they have given the indirect cost per week for crashing the project network across the critical path is rupees 300. Find the optimal crash project completion time. So these are the various project nodes: 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 3, 4, 3, 5, and 4, 5. So the normal time estimates measured in weeks, normal cost, crash time, and crash cost. So these are the data given under each project path. So now we need to measure the network, draw the project network, right? And find out the ES and LC, earliest start and latest completion time, and establish the critical path within the project network. So here the critical path is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are said to be the critical path. The total project completion time is 31 weeks. Okay, so we need to reduce the maximum available time into minimum available time by performing a crashing concept. So how that is possible? So take the critical path activity alone: 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, 5. So I will explain you again: 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, 5. So take this critical path under consideration. Find out the total cost first, total normal cost plus total indirect cost. So total normal cost from the table, okay, we need to sum up the normal cost for individual project node is given here. So from that we can find out what is the total normal cost plus the total indirect cost. So per week they have given 300 rupees. So what is the total project completion time? 31 weeks, right? So 31 into 300. So you will get the total cost in rupees 12,500. So I want to reduce this total cost, okay, by following crashing approach. So, right. So critical, draw the table like this, critical activity. So for activity 1, 2, the crash limit is 3 weeks. So within 3 weeks, I want to reduce the time duration to as minimum as possible. So the cost slope required for crashing the activity, that is a node 1, 2 is 80 rupees. So likewise for each critical activity, the cost slopes are being given. Okay, so now iteration 1, as per the algorithm, right, crashing algorithm, find out the minimum cost slope in this given table. Okay, so node, the critical node between 4 and 5 having the least cost slope. Okay, so crash it initially. So I'm going to crash node number 4 to 5. Okay, by how many weeks? 3 weeks. The crash limit is 3 weeks. Okay, so earlier the maximum project completion time is 31 weeks. From 31 weeks, I want to crash it to 3 weeks. So 28 weeks. Okay, right? So, so I can go for up to 0 weeks. So after that, I cannot crash this particular activity 4, 5. Okay, right? So identify the next minimum slope cost. So 3, 4. So crash into 2 weeks. Okay, the next second iteration. Then activity 2 and 3. Okay, crash it by 2 weeks. Similarly, activity 1 and 2. Likewise, on step-by-step approach, try to identify the minimum cost slope and measure the crash limit of the project path to the minimum level. And finally, we will get the total, the project completion time, minimum project completion time by crashing. From 31 weeks, it has been reduced to 21 weeks. Okay, so this is the way in which we need to apply the project crashing. Okay, so the conclusion for the critical path method, it is an effective theoretical managerial tool, very much useful for industry people in order to plan their day-to-day workflow for various activities with respect to the available time duration. So it will improve the standardization of a work culture within an industrial setup for a specified time period in grouping of various task elements for improving the productivity of the organization. The next complementary tool we are going to discuss is program or project evaluation review technique. So here the PERT uses 3 different time estimates, whereas the CPM will have standard deterministic time. So it will have only one time estimate and a cost, whereas the project evaluation review technique will have only 3 different time estimates. It will not have a cost estimate. So what are the 3 different time estimates? Optimal time, pessimistic time, and most likely time. So using the probability value, we can able to find out what is the expected the project completion time of the particular event. So this is called as the project evaluation review technique. So these are the main objective of the project evaluation review technique, followed by the 3 different time estimates. So optimistic is nothing but predicting with more the accuracy, finding the project completion time with less error, whereas most likely time is nothing but mere approximation, whereas pessimistic time is a critical time which takes a more longer estimate. Sometimes the probability value may go wrong, right? So these are the time estimates which are connected with the PERT concept. Okay. So what are the stages involved in the project evaluation review technique? So first thing, as similar like CPM, identify the specific task and the project milestone, determine the various sequence of times for each activities, then construct the network diagram, then estimate the time for each activity, determine the critical path, and update the PERT chart when the project progresses. Now let us see the case study for the PERT concept for starting a new assembly line, automobile assembly line unit. So when to start an automobile, the production line unit using the project evaluation review technique. So these are the data which is given here. Activity A, which represents the selection of the technical staff, which has a 3 time estimates: optimistic time, most likely time, and pessimistic time. And select the site survey for activity B. And C is nothing but selection of equipments and preparing the layout, that is a design for an automobile assembly line. And activity E, which represents bring utilities to the plant layout, then interview the applicants and fill the position. Then activity G represents purchase of equipment, and activity H represents the construction of the plant, and I represents develop an information system, then install the equipment and train the staff. So these are the activities which are ranges from A to K, and the dependence activities are given in the next column, and the 3 different time estimates are tabulated here. So for this, we need to construct the project network diagram as per the CPM. Then for finding the mean variance, we need to use this formula for finding the mean variance based on the 3 different time estimates for each project jobs, and measure the critical path followed by ES and LC calculations. So after that, we can find out the critical path is task A, E, H, and J. So what are the description of task A? It's nothing but selecting the technical staff, bringing the utilities to the site, construction of the layout, and install the equipment. These are the high challenging jobs which are said to be the critical path in the network. So we need to find out the standard deviation by summing up the variance of the critical path. Okay, the standard deviation. Then what is the probability of completing the project on or before 25 weeks? So using the normal table distribution, we can find out the probability of completion. If the probability value is given 0.84, what is the expected time of completion? That is, C is the expected time of completion. So this is said to be 22.4 weeks, right? So from this discussion, the CPM and PERT, which clearly tells about, it is said to be a planning, a forecasting tool, which helps the manager to take a proper decision in executing the particular activity well in advance before going to the final stage. So PERT technique helps to evaluate the probability of the expected project completion time of all other activities within the project network. Both CPM and PERT are said to be the complementary tool for an industrial management system. There are softwares which are available to do such kind of manual calculation. That is a Microsoft Office or Microsoft program management. These are the 2 software which are very much essential for an industrial engineer to estimate the earliest start and latest completion time, rather than going for a manual approach. So that is quite easier using the software approach. So with this, I end my the presentation. So I thank all the participants for sparing their valuable time throughout the workshop. And also I thank the program organizer and the managing director of this research foundation for giving me an opportunity to share my ideas on the CPM and PERT techniques with few real world the case studies. So thank you one and all. So any queries?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So if any participant is having any clarifications, you can unmute yourself and interact with the resource person directly.
Any participants you want to ask anything or any doubts or clarification, you can unmute yourself. That option is created for you. And directly you can speak with the today's speaker. Or else you can type it in the chat box also. So we'll take those questions also. Yes, anybody want to ask any questions, you can directly unmute yourself and you can ask the speaker, or else you can type it in the chat box also. So we'll take those the questions also. Still it is open. The floor is open. You can ask any questions.
No, ma'am.
So what are the application softwares that are available in this network techniques area for the researchers?
So the following softwares like Primavera, then Microsoft Office program management. These are the few basic thing. And in MS Excel also we can do the calculation, but not that much advanced. MS Excel we can for a simple problem we can do the calculations, ES and LC calculation in MS Excel. For big size problem, industry customized softwares, which I told you, no. So only those two softwares we can work out the program management schedule very effectively, sir.
Thank you.
So if there is no questions, we'll move on, Prashant.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Ramchandra CG, the Managing Director of Sanatana Research and Training Institute, to summarize about the today's webinar.
Okay, thank you, Prashant. So first of all, let me thank today's speaker, Dr. Sivasankaran, so for sharing his the valuable information with our participants. Today, more than 100 participants have registered, and around 80 participants have participated the entire session, and even the session we have recorded. So soon we'll upload in our YouTube channel. So if anybody has missed, so you can go through in our YouTube channel. So it will be shared to you. You can subscribe to our channel, as well as many other the different topics. Videos are also available, so you can go through it. So once again, I'll thank Dr. Sivasankaran for sparing his time and delivering his own some case studies, as well as his knowledge he has shared with us. And coming to the today's topic, we have taken CPM and port, the application in a product launch. That is the topic we have taken. So they initially started with CPM. The critical path method is explained in detail actually what exactly the critical path method and in where and all it can be applied. And he has taken one particular case study for admission process, how the students will take place from each and every the stage. So that is what he has given the case study, and how to determine the critical path within the case study, that also he has explained in detail. And the critical path analysis for a new product release, that is the industrial case study he has taken. So he has explained in detail in that, and even the product crashing concept also he has discussed, how to reduce the time of a particular the task. And at the end of the CPM, he has concluded that CPM is an effective theoretical tool used for industry peoples to measure the workflow plan for of all various activities with respect to the available time duration. So this is how he has summarized the entire the CPM concept. And in the second half, the third. So here also he has explained what exactly the port and what are all the major objectives of the port he has discussed. And he also states the port is the one of the statistical tool which is used in project management, mainly to analyze and even to represent the tasks which are involved in completing the particular the project or the task. And even he has given details about the optimistic time, pessimistic time, and even most likely time, and what are all the various steps required in the port he has explained. And here also he has taken one case study, a new the automotive production unit project he has taken, and he has explained that also in detail. And even at the end of this, he concluded that the port, which is a technique, as I told, is a statistical tool or the technique which is used mainly to evaluate the expected project completion time of all the activities within the network. And even it is mainly used to find out the probability of the expected time of the entire the project. So this how he has given the in-depth information about the both CPM as well as the PERT, and including a software information also he has given what are the softwares that can be used to for the application purpose, and which are all the areas that can be utilized in detail he has given. So once again, I thank everyone for your the participation. And as I told, it is a knowledge sharing the platform. I hope the knowledge is shared, and I hope you take away this knowledge and you will going to implement in your the preparation also. So with this, once again, thank everyone. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir. Gratitude is the essence of humanity. Now, I thank today's speaker, Dr. P. Sivasankaran, Associate Professor, Manakula Vinayagar Institute of Technology, Pondicherry, for delivering a very useful and informative session on CPM and PERT techniques for product launch. Thank you very much, sir. I thank Dr. Ramchandra CG, the Managing Director of Sanatana Research and Training Institute, the Research Head and President of Rotary Club Mysore West, Dr. Raghavendra Prasad MD, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, the Secretary of Rotary Club Mysore West, for their involvement in the organizing this webinar. I also thank Sri Lokesh CG, President, Dr. Shantraj RS, and Srimati Bhagya Gopal, Board of Trustees, Sanatana Samprathisthana, for their support extended in organizing in this webinar. Finally, I thank all the participants for your active participation and support in this webinar. Thank you one and all.